or taking fingerprints.
No, these were complete violations, civil rights violations, absolutely. Absolutely.
So who's?
Well, we don't have habeas corpus anymore. No due process.
I'm going to look into it. Absolutely. They're, and the ACLU was there the whole time doing spot, like legal. I guess it was like compliance or whatever. They were looking for violations, but they weren't around during this protest. This was at night, so it was after the G20 was over, the delegates were gone, but the protesters were still in town.
I don't know if that sounds to me like we've got a problem here in the U.S. Enemy combatant. I mean, they just come up with every new term in the book, right? And
it's loopholes.
Oh
Only
my
holes.
God.
Well,
Use
this
the lawyers.
was definitely testing martial law techniques and chilling. They were definitely chilling the crowd to teach these kids, because they were mostly kids, young college kids.
Yeah.
Don't be political activists, because this is what's going to happen. You're going to get pepper sprayed for no reason. You're going to get beat with batons for no reason. So don't stick your neck out. For what? You can't change the system anyway, so don't stick your neck out. And the funny thing is that the guards were all fascinated by, anybody that didn't look like a hippie, because, you had a lot of hippie-looking types.
Well, they just want to throw us. They want to stereotype.
Like me, they were taught. I'm pretty
like,
clean.
Why are you here?
Yeah, what were you protesting? So me, I'm like, we're protesting the bailouts and the Federal Reserve stealing from the middle class, and they understood that. And they went,
and you want to create a connection. I'm learning that, right?
Build a
yeah. Before I talk about 9/11 truth, half the time I'll start talking about the Federal Reserve.
Right. Well, whatever you think, especially with the military, I mean, chances are they're going to be right wingers. So you want to try and take an issue that's close to the right wing, where they're going to identify with it. And a couple of the guys were like, I totally agree with you. I mean, they're of course they're in that box, that left-right box, but it's do what you can. But again, they were just anybody that I could actually speak to and have a conversation with was they were police. They weren't actually. They had no weapons. Another thing, I don't know if I mentioned this, nobody had any kind of identification, no badges were visible, no name
that's
tags
interesting.
were visible.
Oh, that's
not even a division, what division of the police force or army they were with.
Yeah, and you were saying earlier there was Miami-Dade County.
Yeah, state police, Pennsylvania State Police, Pittsburgh PD, U.S. the Coast Guard, not Coast Guard, the National Guard. And,
was DHS there?
I did see DHS vehicles. I did not see anybody marked as a DHS officer
or FEMA.
Like I did not see any FEMA, but there was DHS present.
See, that's the game they play now when they bring in all these agencies, Betsy.
It's confusing. They just create
none
chaos.
of them carry any kind of badge or identification. They did this in St. Paul.
Right.
I think Amy Goodman, when she was getting arrested and stuff, like her producer or her, I remember, was going, well, who are you with and what's your name and whatever, and they're just like,
we were told,
not answering that.
We were told, one of the journalists that was with us asked one of the officers what department, and we were told, that's none of your business, you don't need to know. And you'll see footage of that come out. It's that protest. We have footage of that.
Yeah, it used to be if you asked a police officer to identify themselves, they had to. Their badge
who
number,
freaking works for who nowadays?
Well,
I mean, this is really. I mean, listen. If you guys cannot freaking understand that, look, we have the Bilderberg group meeting. That's the Olympics. Quite frankly, for me, of protesting, right? Worse than the G20, because really the G20 is the puppets of the Bilderbergs, right? And I mean, you go down there and we got 150, 200 people.
That's a really good analogy.
Listen, we should be getting thousands of people out to these events, man. I'm not pandering for the camera. I'm just pissed because I don't know why I'm putting my ass on the line at all these events, and everybody here. I mean, if you don't understand that every time that this goes on, that this is allowed to happen, that no one responds to this, this is one more step. Just one more step.
It's incremental, baby steps.
Absolutely.
Before I heard the whole incremental thing, I'm like, they do this in baby steps. It's like the frog in the boiling water.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's like little by little, and nobody,
nobody fights back. Takes legal action against these things. But that's the very reason why they don't charge you. You have nothing to fight.
Right.
What am I going to fight? I wasn't charged with anything.
Right.
I was taken in and let go.
Right.
I mean, rights were violated in the meantime. I wasn't charged. I wasn't read rights. I was denied phone calls.
It's a huge psyop.
I was fingerprinted and photographed and searched.
This is what happened when they took all the
crime. Why was I photographed?
all the protesters at the Republican convention were taken up to the pier, right up the street.
Oh, I read it. Well, yeah.
Right? And what happened? They lost, whatever. But I'm saying the government has now made it like the auto industry.
Yeah.
Remember when they were like, well, if the gas tank on the Pinto blows up, right? Well, 300 people die. We get $1 million lawsuit on each one, but it's going to cost us $300 million to recall the cars. It's a mathematical game now for them, where they actually have insurance companies. Can you believe this?
Actuaries.
Who will back up the martial law activity and go, constrain out
huge premiums from the government.
It's
compartmentalization, and it's I'm not going to be held accountable. It's none of my business. I'm just here doing my little piece of work and earning this money. So it doesn't matter what else is going on.
There was a guy that we were being detained with, and at one point they needed a room inside the building, so they moved a group of us out to the courtyard where there was just picnic tables. So we were just sitting at picnic tables. Out there we were allowed to speak. So there was a guy, and I was complaining about the fact that I wasn't charged with a crime, but here I am being fingerprinted and photographed. And he said, I don't care what they do, as long as they give me back my possessions. I want my camera back. I want this. They can take my license. They can fingerprint me. I don't care. I'm not a terrorist. I didn't do anything wrong, so I don't care if they have my information. And this is the kind of attitude that the majority of people have. It's like, well, I have nothing to hide, so I don't care that the Patriot Act can search my house anytime you like. And it's a matter of privacy. It's a matter of rights. It's not just a matter of you must have something to hide.
This
if
whole
you're against the Patriot Act.
Exactly. This whole new generation, but people my age too, in their 40s and 50s, they're 50s, I think, still maybe remember like Vietnam and all that, if they really were like. And they understand that, but so many people today don't understand about rights. They say, I'm not doing anything wrong, so people can tap my phones.
Right.
I'm like, no, that's so wrong. Or we can torture people as long as they're terrorists. I'm like, no, that's wrong. Even if they're terrorists, it's wrong.
Things are going to start to change now that they're not going after brown people anymore. Now that they're coming into the U.S. citizens, you will see.
Well, this is the thing.
Attitudes change.
This is the thing. People want to deny that it's a racism issue, but
right.
if everything that was going on right now with the torture and the Gitmo, all the detention centers, if there were people there not of color, if they were white skinned, this wouldn't be happening.
Absolutely.
Well,
no, it's going to happen. I mean, white skin is you're going to see oppression of the white people now.
When it affects
now
people,
wake up.
Like right now, the people that are waking up.
Somebody else. If you're pressing American Indians or blacks or Arabs or Middle Eastern, people don't care.
It doesn't matter.
But now, once the whites start getting oppressed,
it's like,
that's some of what I think the euphoria is about President Obama. That I think African Americans now feel like, well, now the white man's going to.
Exactly, they're a little empowered, and that's a good thing. You're right. I mean, we're all going to be treated equally, or more equally. Yeah.
Well, see, that's the thing. It's like everyone in this country, right, hasn't protested in so many years, right?
When has the white middle class ever protested?
That's right. So now all these
it's small, like in the '60s, the Peace Club hippies,
tea parties are popping up,
right.
These little tea parties, right? And they're starting to get a taste for it, man. That's what I like to see. Even though they're being misdirected by Glenn Beck,
exactly,
and the rest.
And there's this overlap with the teabaggers and the birthers and the truthers, and then they throw us all in one pot, and we might not all believe the same things. And but at least they're getting attention. At least it's what do they say? At least bad publicity is better than no publicity.
It's so funny because I'm one of the Tea Party organizers on Staten Island.
Oh, really?
And the Tea Partiers see truthers as far left wing.
And totally kooky. Yeah.
I had a guy on the street that I was handing out the flyers to, and he
that
says...
is so funny, that we're left wing.
And he was a left winger.
I mean, I am, but...
He said...
I'm far right wing.
I know.
He was a left winger, and he said, oh, this is a Tea Party thing, isn't it? So he viewed 9/11 Truth as a extreme right wing.
Yeah.
It's not about either party.
Right.
Wake up.
Right. It's about no labels, and they use the labels it's divide and conquer, and they've been doing it forever. And when I figured that out was when they threw out the whole gay marriage thing to get the Republican people in the middle, the heartland, whatever, out to vote. When Rove and Bush and all these, they're talking about Bush of the day.
That was the Ohio
yeah,
scam, right?
I mean, it's just bullshit. I mean, they don't believe what they're saying, and that's when all these. I've learned so much in the last 3 or 4 years.
Well, anyway, what would you have to say to people?
Ooh,
Close